Cave explorers find a bizarre substance 700 feet underground. Spelunking isn't for everyone. Entering a cave means leaving the surface world behind while you travel underground for an indeterminate amount of time, relying on headlamps and lanterns for light. And who knows what's hiding in the darkness. But that mystery drives experts from all over the world to pack their equipment and head into the Carlsbad Caverns. And in the cool, damp blackness, one team of researchers found an unidentified substance that resembled thick lime yogurt. They were told not to let it touch their skin at all costs. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. In 2019, 6 explorers packed their gear and headed to southern New Mexico, home to the Carlsbad Caverns. Max Wishick, Sean Thomas, Hazel Barton, Beth Courtwright, Andy Armstrong, and James Hunter had devised an exploration plan and presented it to the Carlsbad Caverns National Park's Cave Resources Office. The office approved and the exploration was on. Wishick and his team knew the stakes of their mission. One of the most famous cavern systems in the U.S., Carlsbad Caverns National Park, spans 70 square miles and contains more than 80 caves. The system was created 250 million years ago when enormous marine predators dominated the ever-changing planet. Native people first discovered the caves. Before colonizers forced indigenous peoples off their lands, the Zuni Pueblo and Mescalero Apaches were exploring the Carlsbad Caverns themselves. Once the tribes were gone, the caves were forgotten for years. Who knows what happened after all those years? Once Carlsbad was rediscovered, photographer Ray V. David helped popularize the system in 1923. His pictures of the caves excited the government, and they declared it a national monument that same year. 7 years later, the system was designated as a national park. With the park protected by bureaucracy, even fewer explorers were allowed inside. Soon the cave was just another attraction. Tourists flocked to see the Bat Cave. Every summer, millions of bats fly in and out of the cave mouth. The cave meiosis and fringed meiosis bats roost deep in the cave and then fly 1.5 miles to the exit. In total, there were 17 different bat species who call the park home. Wishick and his team, though, weren't interested in bats. One of the spots that fascinated Wishick and his crew was the Lechuguilla Cave. The cave is the second deepest in the continental U.S. and the 8th longest explored cave in the world, but this wasn't discovered until 1984. The first modern group to make their way down started in the 1950s. They encountered something almost supernatural. This group found a bunch of tunnels with dead ends. Eventually, they reached what they thought was the end of the cavern and were hit with a blast of wind deep underground. They couldn't find the source, even though they heard the wind whistling in from somewhere. No one else explored Lechuguilla until 1984. A Colorado caving team obtained permission from the National Park Service to see if they could discover more of the mysterious hidden below. Their work led to 150 miles of passages and chambers being added to the official Lechuguilla maps. The caves didn't just interest scientists. In 2002, journalist Michael Taylor, shown here on the right, decided he wanted to see what was in Lechuguilla himself. For the PBS show Nova, Michael and a team of spelunkers took their own trip into the cave. From Michael's account, it was a rough journey. We lay 1,200 feet or less beneath the desert, down countless rope pitches and miles of tortuous passage from the single entrance of Lechuguilla Cave, Michael wrote. The cave's constant humidity, which had kept us sweating for hours as we made our difficult way down, now leached away warmth. We stank of the day's work. Our funk blended with Lech's peculiar soil and metal odor, Michael wrote. My bare arms and legs were caked with soil, sweat, and blood from inevitable encounters with sharp rocks, along with gritty bits of white aragonite that we had acquired while squeezing through a tight formation-lined tube. These accounts were well studied by Max Wishick and his crew, but the call of exploration was too strong. There were over 250,000 years of history to the Carlsbad Caverns, and very few people so far had ventured deep enough into the twisting caverns and passageways. There was a real possibility to discover something never seen by humans, good or bad. One geological feature that stood in the team's way was the Lake of Liquid Sky. We absolutely love the feeling of mystery the name brings. Humans had located the underground pool since 1993, and the 2019 team wasn't allowed to let the liquid graze their skin. Max and the rest of the cavers wore safety suits to keep the liquid from reaching them as they crossed the 50 feet of water. Luckily, it was only 5 feet at its deepest point. Once they made it through the water, they saw 350 feet of spacious and highly decorated passage. The scientists sketched the passages to keep track of them, along with recording them on Distox. This is a handheld device that looks like an old Palm Pilot, used to digitally map the cave passages. With their Distox and old-fashioned pen and paper, they tracked their findings. There were rare minerals hiding on the other side of the lake of liquid sky. They didn't see any dragons guarding the yellow and blue barite crystals, which seems surprising on some level. The barite, of course, had to inspire the newly explored region, Barite Boulevard. The Kansas City Star went wild over the researchers' work. In June 2020, a reporter wrote that the team stumbled upon a pool surrounded by white frosted rock and filled with an odd-looking liquid that resembles thick lime yogurt. The description was oddly very accurate. Rodney Horrocks, the chief of natural and cultural resources at Carlsbad Caverns National Park, gave credence to the yogurt quote. The pool has been isolated for hundreds of thousands of years and had never seen light before that day, Rodney said. The yogurt pool drew plenty of interest from newspaper readers. Max eventually jumped in to clarify that his team didn't wade through the lime yogurt. The cave's odd lighting cast a green tint on the water, which was actually crystal clear. The white frosted rock was really white barite crystals. The reason they couldn't touch the water didn't have anything to do with it being dangerous. Such untouched pools are scientifically important because water samples are relatively free of contaminants, and the microbial organisms that may live in those pools are only those that belong there, Max wrote. The environment was so specialized, the scientists could have accidentally thrown off the ecosystem. Max wanted to completely ensure audiences understood that a newly discovered pool in Lechuguilla Cave is about as pristine as it gets. In total, they spent 8 full days underground and examined 4,000 new feet of passages. Slowly but surely, we're beginning to better understand what's deep underground, and those discoveries range from intriguing to terrifying. Deep in the Catskills Mountains in the northeast of the United States, this voodoo doll-like sculpture was found. Max couldn't take credit for this one, but the hikers that found it reportedly felt strange, supernatural energy when they got close. They snapped a photo and posted it to Reddit with the hope of someone knowing what it was. To this day, it remains a mystery. Then there are these enormous crystalline structures that were found in a cave in Nyaca, Mexico. Besides the crystals themselves being an incredible find, the scientists who explored the area also discovered thriving life. Samples of bacteria were apparently living off the iron and magnesium present in the structures, which led the team to believe that life may be able to flourish in conditions way tougher than previously thought. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspirational stories.